Hello, everybody. My name is Sam. I am your customer success trainer from Zoom. Today, we have prepared for you a training on using Zoom Phone. So first of all, what is Zoom Phone? Most people don't know what it is, but people have heard of us in the form of video conferencing. There's already a question there from Michael. Michael will definitely cover that in today's training as well. How do you log in? So today we have an agenda prepared for you on how to set up Zoom Phone, how to use the software application on your computer. Hopefully once things open up again, you can get on the road and use Zoom Phone on the go on your mobile device. We might cover some advanced features once we get the basics down, as well as some additional resources and support. So first of all, what is Zoom Phone? Zoom Phone is an additional functionality that will be added to your Zoom client. The power of one, when you have our video conferencing, phone, chat, all united into a single platform, it allows you to control all your communications from a single place. So in terms of needing another application, you won't need that. It will simply appear as a new tab inside of your existing Zoom client. This slide just shows you that Zoom is really at the forefront of innovation and setting trends in the phone and in the phone industry as recognized by multiple industry professionals out there. So first of all, Zoom Phone is an interesting concept because it is a cloud-based telephone system. What this means is that Zoom provides all of the telephone infrastructure, and then you can access your phone system from any device that can download Zoom onto it. This means that your mobile devices, your tablets, your computers, so long as you can sign into that Zoom account given to you by New America, you will be able to access all of your information through the cloud. So because this is a cloud-based solution, the first thing you're going to want to do is customize your phone system and make sure some basic things like your business hours, your voicemail, your preferences are adjusted. So in order to access your cloud settings, simply go to newamerica.zoom.us, or you could simply go to zoom.us. Uh-oh. It looks like my connection's pretty bad this morning. Give me just a moment, folks. All right. I'm actually going to leave my video off so that we can focus on the audio and the screen sharing transmission. Can you all hear me now? Hello? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just want to confirm. First, you're going to log into the Zoom web portal. So you're going to sign in with, of course, the email that New America has given you. This is important because that specific user address has the correct phone and meeting licensing. You'll notice on the left-hand side that there is a personal index. You'll want to navigate down to the phone tile. In the phone tile, once you select that, there's going to be a prompt to program in your PIN code and your time zone. Both really important because the time zone will be used to define your business hours, and the PIN code is used in case you want to access your voicemail through another type of, maybe by dialing your number from another phone in order to access your voicemail. So I could like use my friend's phone to call my own Zoom phone number, type in my PIN code, and then access my voicemail. You'll notice that there are 4 tabs at the top. We're going to focus primarily on the general settings tab here today. At the very top in the first section, you will see a summary of all the information as it relates to your Zoom Phone account, what site you're tied to, what type of calling plan you have. Everybody has what we call a Zoom United plan, which gives you the ability to make unlimited US and Canada phone calls, text messages, and also unlimited Zoom meetings. Your direct number that has been assigned to you, if you have one, and then the company number. You'll also notice that there's an emergency address. People don't typically think of pulling out their phone system, their Zoom phone, for making emergency calls, but in the event that that is what you would choose to do, you can select your emergency address, which should be where you are currently located. If you're currently working from home, you would want to manage a personal emergency address. Often a question that comes up here is, well, if I'm on the go and I have a specific emergency address program, how does that work? Well, your mobile phone and your laptop can also share its location with Zoom for the purpose of the emergency address. So if you choose to allow the Zoom app to locate you, it will automatically find the closest address to your to where you're located. We also have the ability to set an outbound caller ID. So this would be the default caller ID you would want. Some people like using the company number as the default outbound caller ID. Some people like using their direct number. I personally use my direct number. We also have business hours. Now, I know this says 24/7, which is definitely a lot. That's going to match whatever the site business hours are, and you're certainly able to edit it according to your own work hours. So you can see here that I've programmed in normal work hours for myself. Okay, let's talk about call handling for a moment. Because Zoom is a cloud-based telephone solution, what this means is that you can control the ring order of all the devices that are connected to your Zoom Phone cloud account. So when we think of Zoom application, this is referring to any device that you have that has a Zoom application. But there's also additional ways to handle that call. For example, if you don't pick up on your application, you can actually forward the number to another telephone number, maybe a home phone number or a personal number. There isn't a way to control which device rings first today. So if you select Zoom application, this will ring any device that's signed into Zoom and has the Zoom app open. Further down here, you can control the way you're alerted. So you could have simultaneous ring or sequential rings. You can control the user experience of somebody who's trying to reach you. So for example, if you don't want somebody to wait more than 30 seconds before they go to your voicemail, you can certainly choose that over here. I know some services use the number of rings. At Zoom, we use number of seconds. And then here you have your voicemail greeting. So with your voicemail greeting, you can upload your own audio library. And we'll take a closer look at that a little bit later on. Keep in mind that what we just looked at was open business hours. There is a different area for closed hours. So you have to do the same type of programming for closed hours. So if you aren't taking calls after 4 p.m. every day, you will want to program in your closed business hours, closed hours information as well. We also have holiday hours, which we'll look at a little bit later on. So here is an example of setting up your voicemail greeting. You can submit your own audio, which is under the upload button, or you can record your new voicemail greeting by the computer. There's also a third tab not shown here, which is a text to voice transcription. So whatever you type out, you can select sort of the gender and tone of the voice to read out your voicemail on your behalf. As far as holiday hours go, Zoom Phone will always follow your business hours unless there is some sort of holiday programming here. So you can type in, for example, Christmas, what dates you'll be out of office. And if you click save, Zoom Phone will respect those holiday hours. One thing that I do like to emphasize here is that the holiday hours need to be programmed annually, so you can't program it for 2021 and then leave it for 2022. So it's currently explicit programming. Hopefully in the future, we will release something that makes this a little bit more adaptive so that we know every Christmas,
Hi,
you
this
have
is
to
Claire's
select a holiday,
voicemail.
and then it would bring you out of office. I'm sorry, was there a question? I thought I may have heard somebody say something.
Sorry, that was me. I wasn't a question. I was trying out the voice to speech, text to speech thing.
Oh,
So
good.
thanks.
That's perfect.
Sorry.
You know, we love it when people dive right in and try it out. We also have delegation and assistant. This is an interesting feature. I don't know how many people on this call will be using this, but what this allows you to do is it allows you to give somebody permission to access your phone system and do things like place calls using your direct number, pick up your calls and answer them, as well as pick up and place your calls on hold. This is not typically used if you're just making phone calls out or sending text messages, but this does exist for anybody who may need this delegation type access. And then finally, we have some other settings here. For example, Jacob has access to my voicemail. So he can sign into his Zoom client and view his voicemails and my voicemails as well. Very handy if I need somebody monitoring my voicemails as well. We have also the ability to customize the hold music. Yeah, that's about it for this specific section. This next section is only for people who have a hardware phone assigned to them. When you're using a hardware phone, there's typically something called a line where you can put like your favorite speed dials. With Zoom Phone, you can program those line keys on the cloud very easily. All you have to do is type in you just have to click set key and then define all of this information over here. One thing as a warning for anybody who would be participating in using a hardware phone and programming in their keys, once you save this particular stage, it actually reboots your hardware phone. And then it takes a couple minutes for it to come back online. So don't be surprised if that happens if you change your keys and positions. If you're unsure, I would say reach out to your internal IT team before you make these changes, just so that you are able to bring your phone back online. It should be automatic, right? There should be no problems with it. But since this isn't something that an end user typically does until we made it available through self-service on the cloud, reach out to your internal IT team to walk you through it if you're doing this for the first time. All right, that was really helpful, really interesting, but you're probably thinking, hey, I want to look at the phone system now. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take a look at the desktop client. But before we do that, do we have any questions about the phone settings on the cloud? Claire, I know you went out there and tried out the text to voice, so kudos to you for trying that out. Any questions about the admin part for Zoom Phone?
Just a quick question for the extension. Just confirming that someone has to call the main line and then I'm assuming it prompts them at some point to enter the extension if we have that, right? Then given to someone?
Yes, so that's how the system is configured at the moment, where when they dial the main number, the auto attendant picks up and says, please, if you know your party's extension, please dial now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Perfect. Great question. All right, let's move on to the desktop client. All right, so this is the Zoom desktop app, the one that we all know and love. What you're going to notice is a little bit different here is number one, there is a brand new tab called Phone. And then if you are part of any type of call queue system, if you're a part of any type of call queue system, you'll have an option to opt in and out of a queue. Other than that, it's the same when you first launch it. Just like when you're on a Zoom meeting, you have to tell your computer which speaker and which microphone to use. The same thing applies for Zoom Phone because it's using the same application. The suppressed background noise will work the same as well. So actually, as I was doing my training right now, there was a really large garbage truck that just drove outside of my window. That if you didn't hear it, it's because we had the suppressed background noise option on. This will also extend to your phone system. One thing that I want to note over here is when you access your settings, and I'm sorry if I didn't cover this, but in order to access your settings, you go to the gear icon and then you select settings, right? And then you go down to phone. Once you're in the phone section, if you're on a Macintosh computer, you would select default calls for Zoom. And what this would help with is that if you need to click a link on a web page, it will by default move the information into your Zoom Phone app so that you can click call, as opposed to using maybe like a cell phone that you have attached to your computer. In addition, what you'll notice is that when currently, by default, when you're in a meeting, you can still receive phone calls, which is obviously very distracting. So you can check this box to hide incoming calls while you're currently in a meeting, and the phone system will respect your Zoom status. All right, so this is the phone system here. What you'll notice on the left-hand side is 4 tabs: history, voicemail, lines, and SMS. We'll get into all those shortly. And then you'll see a dialer, right? So starting with history, you can see all your missed and recorded calls. If you have access to somebody's Zoom phone system, you will actually see their history as well. And what you can do is filter by your own history or their history. You can select voicemail to, look at your voicemails, read them, play them, download them, etc. If you're sharing a phone system with somebody, then you will see their current status underneath lines. So you can see their presence, who they're in a call with. And this lines area is how you would handle any sort of calls that you have access to due to the host of that phone system giving you permissions to access their phone system. And then finally, we have SMS. So just like any other text messaging system, it really works the exact same way. The primary difference is that it's on your computer. So if you wanted to upload a PDF file or something that's relatively large, you can actually do that quite easily from your computer. But this is also accessible on the Zoom app, right? And it's all synchronized together. So you send a text message here, of course, it's going to synchronize over to any Zoom app that you have running. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at.
Question?
Yes. Hey, Michael.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so I'm logged in to Zoom on my laptop from when you went through the previous settings, but I don't see any of what you've been going through the past 6 screens. Where do we find that? Is there a separate Zoom desktop app that's not within the Zoom that we log into?
Hey, Michael, that's a great question. You might have to look at your case individually, and it might just be a licensing thing. And we need to make sure that number one, you're logged into the New America account, which I'm pretty sure you are.
Yeah, yeah, because I did all the other settings. You said the first set, the 4 tabs, history, voicemail, recording, settings, but I don't see anything with phone.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We'll have to look at your case independently afterwards because I couldn't recommend a course of action until we look at your account more closely. Could you type in your email address for me in the chat, and I will work with Abhilash separately to make sure we get your phone system online.
Okay, thanks.
If you could just drop your email in chat, we'll take a look at it after today's training. Thank you. So if you have a license for the phone system, you will be able to see this particular view when you're currently in a phone call with somebody. It's a standard interface that you would see when you're making a phone call on any type of device. There are a couple exceptions, so I do want to cover those differences. Mute and unmute, switching to the keypad if you need to navigate some sort of menu, adjusting your audio if somebody's having trouble hearing you or if you cannot hear someone else. Also, make sure you have a good internet connection, right? Because Zoom is a voice over internet protocol phone, meaning if your internet isn't good or your LTE connection on your cell phone isn't good, it will impact the quality of your audio for your phone system. The ability to add a call. So with Zoom Phone, you can add up to 3 people in a call. And then once you add a 4th person for ease of managing that phone call, we actually convert it into a Zoom meeting, and every phone number is represented as a tile. You can place a call on hold, transfer a call. When it comes to call transfers, you have 3 options. You can make a warm transfer, where you can speak to somebody internally before you transfer the call over to them and then drop off. You can do a call transfer that's cold, which is simply think of it as just forwarding a call to somebody and then dropping off. And then you can also transfer a call directly to somebody's voicemail if you notice that they are currently busy in a meeting or already on a phone call. And then these 2 features are new and specific to Zoom Phone. The first one is that you can record a call. It will make an announcement when the recording starts and stops. And then the ability to elevate a phone call into a meeting seamlessly. Try this one internally first, because internally you can be sure that everybody has a phone and meeting license. So what this will do is I can click meet, and if the other party accepts, it will seamlessly transition into a video conferencing call. And then there's some additional power user settings here, such as placing the call in a universal parking lot. That's more of a retail use case. Not too many people use that. And then inviting a phone call directly into a meeting on your calendar. If you're getting spam calls, you can block callers, spam calls, other reasons, etc. And then we have contacts. So because Zoom is we're a phone system and a video conferencing system all in one. You can add contacts primarily by inviting somebody through an email address. If you want to add in a contact that is primarily just a phone contact with no email address, meaning they're not a Zoom meeting and Zoom Phone user, you will want to synchronize your contact information through your calendaring system. So your calendar system typically has a contact system, and you will want to leverage that to store your cloud-based contacts.
Sorry, I have a quick question about the going back to the spam calls and blocking numbers.
Yes.
So just ever since we got Zoom Phone and I got the app, I have been getting at least like 1 to 2 calls a week from like unknown numbers or spam numbers. Is that like I uninstalled the app from my phone because I didn't want to deal with that anymore. I'm just wondering, is that normal? Is that like how do our Zoom Phone numbers get to get on those lists, or is there any way to kind of block that, or is this just sort of par for the course?
No, it's definitely not the usual experience. It's definitely very interesting. So first of all, when you mark a call as spam, it adds to an internal database that your admin can review, and it sort of builds like a company-wide list of spam callers. Obviously, we don't want you to spend all your time blocking spam calls. So I will also take a look separately with Abhilash and our engineering team to see why that may be the case, and if we can have maybe some sort of solution to that. It's
Cool,
interesting.
thank you.
So it looks like other teams have also been getting more spam calls. Yeah, that is definitely not par for the course. We will take a look at that today. Yeah. Abhilash, I'm going to send you an email after this about a program that we can enroll everybody in.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So the Zoom mobile app is just like the Zoom desktop app, except it's optimized for mobile. It's the exact same thing, all the same information synchronized to your mobile app. There's really not too much to cover here, except that it's on your smartphone. This particular slide is an advanced feature just to show you that you can take a phone call and turn it into a video conferencing call. And you also have the ability to take a phone call and transfer into a meeting. We call it the convergence of phone and video. This is just a GIF showing you what it looks like to add a phone user directly into a meeting. So you can see the user is notified, and then the caller enters the meeting and you hang up. This isn't really an advanced feature, but you can send SMS one-to-one as well as group texts. The ability to call record, meaning it records, it goes to the cloud, and then there's automatic transcription with the ability to download as well. And you also have the ability to call flip. So if you ever take a call on your computer and then you got to run down to the kitchen to maybe grab a snack, you can actually put the call on hold and then pick it up on your mobile phone or your hardware phone and resume the call from any device of your choice. We also have call monitoring if that's something you're interested in doing. This just allows you to listen in or whisper only to an internal employee or barge directly into the call. Let's see here. Zoom is very open to feedback, and we always are releasing new features because our customers are telling us what they want, and then we listen and we go and make it. As a result, what you may find is that Zoom Phone will continue to evolve. So if you have any questions, please go to support.zoom.us, reach out to your internal IT team, and also they can also reach out to me if they have any questions. It looks like people are dropping off because there's a meeting. Sorry for going over. That's all I had for today. If you have any needs in the future and you need to open up a ticket, be sure to include your phone number as well as screenshots and details such as the date and time. I know we're over on time, but thank you so much for your time today, folks. If there are any questions, feel free to send it over to your IT team and they can send it to me. Or you can ask them live. I can hang on here for a couple minutes.
I have a question. This is maybe a bit silly, but I have not used this yet. So thanks for the tutorial. If we're not logged into Zoom, which I'm often not unless I'm initiating a meeting, what I haven't noticed yet how calls are handled. Does it go to an email? Like if we miss a voice, like a phone call, and then we get a voicemail, I just haven't really, I always use my cell phone. So I just don't have a lot of calls right now on the main line. And so as I start to get this number out, I just want to get a sense of like, if we're not logged in, how that's usually handled.
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you're not logged into Zoom, you will miss those calls. And then you can see the call log history and your missed calls. You won't get an email, but you will get an email if a voicemail is left.
Okay, so I don't have to set up anything in order to get that. So as of now, only if a voicemail is left, I'll get an email.
Correct.
Okay.
And if you prefer to use a personal cell phone, go into the cloud portal and program in your personal or whatever phone that you're on all the time as the first number in the ring sequence, so that it forwards a call directly to your phone, if that's what you would like. Like if some people prefer to just use their cell phone for all the calls. But if you're okay with leaving it as is and handling it through voicemails as well, feel free to do that too.
Okay, yeah, I guess it's just, I have to log in to see my call logs, but if I get a voicemail, I'll be notified via email at this point.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let me go ahead and stop this recording. Abelish, do you have